Okay, so I was at the board meeting last week, but just for the general public, how is this different than any other grant program we hear about? Government doling out money to schools.
Well, if you're at the board meeting, you heard me talk about this is, to me, the most significant thing that came out of the last budget. The governor's proposal for a $250 million straight A fund is different in several ways, but the very fact that the major component of it is sustainability, that districts and schools and teachers have to show that it's not an add-on, that they have to look at what they're doing that may be not working and replace that and with this other proposal and make sure it's sustainable beyond that point is a huge change. Most grants that we have at the federal and state level are just you apply, you get them, and you spend the money, and then when the money runs out, it ends. That's not the point. The point is to have districts and schools be introspective and look at what's working or what's not working for them and make the changes and implement this reform or this improvement that will be long-standing. So,
can you give me some examples? What might come out of this? What kind of program?
Well, I don't want to get too specific, but, when I was in the governor's office, we literally talked to hundreds of superintendents, teachers, principals about ideas they had. And I can assure you that the ideas I heard from Rock Hill were different from the ones I heard from Cleveland. And the ones I heard from Upper Arlington were different than the ones I heard from Newark. So the power there is it's percolating up from the local school, the community, the teachers, the parents, ideas. And so I've heard a lot about technology. And when I was teaching at OU, one of the things I heard about is delivery of instruction for upper-level math or upper-level physics or foreign language that they were having trouble getting instructional staff for. So there could be an opportunity through technical delivery systems to deliver those classes that the kids otherwise wouldn't have an opportunity to do. I think the other thing, as you know, literacy is a huge important part of what I'm about because I think that's the linchpin of turning around the public education system with the third grade reading guarantee and the skills that kids have. So I think we might see some things with literacy. There is some restrictions about using lottery money for early childhood, can't do that, but the literacy focus from kindergarten through third grade, it seems to be a particular interest. Shared services, efficiencies that districts or multiple districts or ESCs or universities can do together and that then we can drive the money back to the classroom is another component of this. So the difference I see from this, from other things, is the whole concept of sustainability. It really forces buildings and districts to look at what they're doing and make judgments about this is effective, this isn't, and let's get rid of the thing that's not as effective, replace it with something that's more effective and positively affect student achievement.
So is the idea here to give a district or a school a grant one time, not same amount of money year after year?
This would be an application process that they would be applying, and the cap, the amount is $5 million per individual district or $15 million for a collaboration or a partnership. It would be a one-time grant, and they need to show the cost savings of the implementation, the sustainability in that period of time, and they need to focus on student growth and efficiencies of the proposal. So it would not be an ongoing money's going to keep rolling. That's what the sustainability is about. Allow you to have the political, financial and political capital to make the change originally, but then sustain the change on your own and make sure that it's making a difference for boys and girls.
Some of these things don't sound too complicated. Maybe having a physics teacher in one district offer classes in another classroom. Why aren't schools already doing this without getting extra money to do it?
Well, I think some are. I think some districts are, and sometimes it's hard, as I say, to make decisions that you may need some political capital or financial capital to get us started. That's what the premise of this is. If you need different technology, different connections, a partnership with a university or with a different agency to deliver the coursework to get started, that's what this is about. How do we get started? How do we make sure it works? How do we evaluate it to make sure it's helping boys and girls and making us more efficient and effective?
You said $5 million per district?
$5 million per district, $15 million for a partnership or a collaboration.
Okay, and I think consortium or something is what they use.
Consortium, probably. Well,
what is that? I didn't understand what that meant.
It could be universities, it could be ESCs in a partnership. Collaboration could be a group of school districts. It can be community schools with a traditional brick and mortar school. So any kind of combination, but the lead needs to be with the school, district or building so they can show the cost savings and the fact that they're actually making a difference in the learning for the boys and girls.
And that's what they're going to have to show in this application.
Exactly.
Or they're not going to get the money, correct?
Exactly.
Where do things stand? You guys have an application that people can see.
Yes.
Are they able to apply now?
I think the application deadline is, there's a date, I think they need to apply by the 26th of October. So we're looking at about 6 weeks from now when the applications will be due, and at that due date we'll receive them in mass and start processing them.
And so how quickly before we actually see some?
We're hoping that through the process, we were trying to get the dollars out to the school districts or buildings prior to or by the first of the year, and that's the goal. We have the tight 6-week application window. Then we're going to be the grading and vetting of both the sustainability part and the programmatic parts of this. But we're pretty optimistic that we can make the first of the year with money flowing out to the school district.
How do you monitor and make sure they're actually doing what they say they're going to do?
Well,
Or that what they're doing is actually working?
Well, it's going to be that implementation is going to be reported. The district under the application period or the collaboration or partnership has to report back to us about the success of it. The one other thing that we ask them is, and if you see things going awry, don't wait. You need to get back and meet with the straight A board and say, hey, we have these problems and we need to make these adjustments. Because, as a superintendent for 27 years, there's some things I implemented in my school districts that didn't work quite the way I thought they would. But if we're open and honest and engaging, and I think there's going to be some receptivity in the straight A board to say, okay, we understand the fact that this isn't working the way you intended. Let's make some adjustments and make sure it works. So that communication back and forth is going to be hugely important for our recipients of the straight A fund.